Hey guys, Freak Mushroom here. Striving and surviving, enduring the harshest conditions. How you been? Glad you came back to watch my newest video. Hopefully you like my previous ones. My last one on Missing 411 to me is pretty hot. Has a lot of information. If you haven't seen it, check it out. A lot going on in the news. Too bad we can't talk about it because YouTube doesn't want us to. But I will tell you that it was reported that WHO wants to run another fake pandemic to look at how their treaties, their new international treaties, are going to work. And then we also have our intelligence community wanting to run EMP weapon test, see how the world will work without electricity. And folks, if you don't know it, all it takes is for the power to go up for 48 hours in the United States and people not being able to access their banks and pay their bills to really screw us bad. I don't know if you saw, but they finally agreed to raise the debt ceiling, which a lot of people might think is good, and they said that the debt ceiling was only 15 trillion when it's actually 50 trillion. So don't let them lie to you, folks. We're really in debt, and raising the debt ceiling means the devaluing of the U.S. dollar, folks. It's not a good thing. And our dollar was already devalued. It's like at 0.25% right now. And with this debt ceiling raise, now it's down to maybe 15%. Okay. By the way, all the folks that worked hard to 5 years ago to get minimum wage raised, the IRS wants to thank you for doing that because you didn't get more money; they're getting more money out of you. All right, they're using you to launder money to them through your taxes by raising your income and pushing you into another bracket. What does that mean? That meant that the dollar got devalued because now you need more and you're getting less. All right? In any case, in another story this week, we have one of the auditors, one of the top auditors, Sean Reyes, Long Island Audit, who went to the New York police station with the law in his hand, clearly printed on a big piece of paper, showing the ordinance by the city council that overrides the Constitution that says he can film inside the New York Police Department. As soon as Sean walked in, 8 officers surrounded him, pushed him out the door, and end of the story, they arrested him for trespassing. Okay, he's a journalist. He was working on a story, trying to get information. Now, the irony of this is that they did it on June 1st. Now, folks, if you don't know, on June 1st, across the United States, a gay pride flag was raised in front of just about every library and every city hall to celebrate Gay Pride Month. But in reality, the gay pride flag is in disguise. It is really the Jewish Noahide flag. And raising that flag for 30 days represents that our country's been subverted. And what's so nice is that you just celebrated Memorial Day, and let's remember all those soldiers that fought for our freedoms, okay? And right after that, Israel raises its flag, laughing and spitting on them. And at the end of June, Israel gets to have a parade in every major city with their flag flying free. Okay? Now, whether you're gay, straight, trans, I could care less. I go by hearts and minds, folks. Okay? And if you don't like what I just said, maybe you should do some research and see that I'm not lying to you. I just looked it up, and currently we have 37 senators out of 535 that are Jewish. all right, and I think it's like 15 in the House. It's like 20 in the House, 17 in Congress. In any case, what's even worse is that we have 33 Jewish governors now. I'm sure this is all just coincidence, okay? And by the way, I'm coming around back to direct to Sean Reyes, all right? But out of 50 states, if 33 are Jewish, what's the majority there? Okay? There's no secret there. So, in any case, Sean Reyes goes into the police station and the police arrest him on the day that Israel raises its flag. Now, if you read UN Agenda 2030, you will see that one of the plans is to replace the United States police with UN troops, which are really going to be IDF Mossad agents in disguise. All right? We have what's called an American Jewish Committee that, if you check out the Wayback Machine, it used to be called American Jewish Congress. And folks, it's located right behind Capitol Hill. And yes, the senators walk back and forth between the two buildings in secret because it's behind. So, news reporters do in the front. They really don't go in the back. In any case, this is just some information you need to know. Now, the thing is Sean Reyes now has a false arrest, and he has proof that the NYPD is acting criminally, going against public law, criminal law. The case is probably going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court are going to rule that the police are out of hand. That's what all these auditors are doing, folks. It's a military false flag. All right? I'm not saying all auditors are bad. Okay? Like Riot Girl Radio, I think it is on YouTube. She's just starting to do auditing. And she's somebody like me that when 9/11 We Are Change came out, I got involved with them only to find out that it was a subverted group and a controlled opposition, all right, to control the narrative toward the government and make me look like a kook. And, Riot Girl, I don't want to stop you from doing your auditing. Continue to do it, but realize that you could get in trouble. You really need to know your laws and study your laws, all right, and know which law they're using. In fact, maybe ask a police officer, what law are you upholding here this year? And if they say if they say criminal law and ordinances, they're holding up ordinances, yes. Criminal law, no. They're holding up maritime law. That's what the yellow fringe on the flag means. Okay, it means that it's a maritime court and goes by contracts and has to do with your birth certificate. Has nothing to do with whether you're right or you're wrong or whether it was a crime or not. And just a hint for you auditors, and if you wind up in one of these courts with the yellow fringe and they try to file contempt of court on you, maritime law doesn't recognize contempt of court. And when you bring this to the judge's attention, he'll agree with you and move on. Why and how can I say that? Because it was done to me. The judge moved me, didn't like what I said, threatened me with contempt of court, moved me to the back, so I was the last person to go in front of him. And when I went up in front of him, I apologized to him and I told him, I'm sorry, but your flag over there cries maritime law. And he apologized to me, folks, and said that I was correct and moved on. Okay? So that's why I'm saying you folks need to know your law. Now, if you look at these auditors, like Sean, like DirectD, like San Juan Key Transparency, don't you notice anything about them compared to like Michigan Constitutional, whatever his name is? Okay, Michigan Constitutional, whatever, with frickin' media. Okay, those are people like Riot Girl Radio who are caught up in this auditing community, not knowing that it's a controlled opposition. Okay, but what does DirectD and Sean Reyes and Sam Joaquin and James Freeman all have in common? Look how clean they are, folks. They have cars. They have a house. They have a family. Okay? Look at friggin' media. Look at Michigan Constitutional Conservative or whatever. They're down home boys. They got beards, mustaches. Their cars are lucky they start. Okay? The four auditors I mentioned previously apparently were somewhere in the military. My guess is the Navy, okay, or the Army, because they're average Joes. And they might not be in the military now that they finished their tours, but that doesn't mean that they didn't pick up sideline false flag jobs. Now, I wish I was wrong, but I'm not. And how do I know that? Because when DirectD got arrested by the New York Police Department for filming on June 1st, a couple days ago, underneath his video, the first person he wanted us to contact to help him was good old Chuck Schumer. Yeah, good old Amy Schumer's uncle, who is a dual Israeli citizen, who is Jewish, and who is one of the top senators working very hard to take your Second Amendment away and your right to protect yourself. But he has guards and he has guns. Are you getting the picture? Why would DirectD want us to contact Chuck Schumer? And I'll tell you why. Because Chuck Schumer, when you call, is actually being monitored by Mossad and the IDF, and anybody and everybody that calls gets marked down into a database. Oh, they're against us, they're against us, they're against us. And you folks are falling right into it, okay? Another psyop that's happening on you folks that you're just buying into is that Bud Light is losing money, and now Target's losing money, and soon Chick-fil-A is going to be losing money. Do you not realize what these people are doing? Do you not realize how finances work? All right? I'm going to say one remark, and then I'm going to get to my point. You guys think that Bud Light went woke with Dylan Mulvaney. So your response, the public's response, was to boycott buying Budweiser. Don't you think Budweiser knew that you were going to do that? So what Budweiser did was they took out what's called put options on their Anheuser-Busch stock. When you get put options, that is when you bet that a stock is going to go down. And it's just like Las Vegas. I bet that this number's not going to come up. Well, on a roulette wheel, your odds are pretty good that that number's not going to come up, and you're going to win. Well, if I plan the implosion, and I rig the wheel on the roulette table, that it's definitely not going to hit that number, I'm going to win every time. So Bud Light, so you guys boycotted it, and you saw the news, oh, they're losing money, people are buying, and they're showing you propaganda, people smashing cans, and Kid Rock blowing it up with guns, okay? I mean, it's just, you know, West Americans are standing up. So what's Budweiser's response? We're going to lower our price. And what do you idiots do? You go out and buy double the beer. Boy, aren't they stupid, Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch is so stupid, I can't believe they did what they did. All right? Now, folks, the government's going to tell you that because you boycotted Budweiser because you wouldn't accept the diversity, you can't buy Budweiser anymore. They went bankrupt. It's your fault that they went bankrupt. It's your fault that Target is now out of business and Walmart is out of business. Okay? because you boycotted them because they went with the woke crowd and diversity. Folks, don't you see what they're doing? They're closing stores and limiting your goods getting goods. And they're blaming you for it. And while they're doing that, they're making money hand over foot, hand over fist, because they planned their implosion. They got put options and they did it. An example of this is good old Vince McMahon and the WWE. You folks all think that he runs World Wrestling Federation. He could care less about World Wrestling Federation because if you don't know, Vince and Linda McMahon, Linda who was in the Trump cabinet as the Small Business Administration in 2016 to 2020, Vince owns a private army like Blackwater Academy, Z, whatever you want to call it. Okay? His private army is called Titan Securities. Now, in 2015, the stock for Titan Securities was at $2.11, folks. And when I saw that, I told all my friends, buy Titan Securities stock. Get a hold of it. Do whatever you can. Now, with Linda McMahon in the Small Business Administration and Vince's army just starting out, who do you think gave him money? Okay? So, now Titan Securities is getting federal grants and loans through Linda, passing them right to her husband, and Vince making money. Now the stock's slowly going up. But Vince is greedy. Linda's greedy. Stephanie's greedy. Triple H is greedy. They want more money. What can we do? What can we do to make more money? Well, folks, what they did is they make roughly about $5 billion off a pay-per-view. Yeah. Worldwide, $5 billion. And that's all Vince's money. Because Vince owns 51% stock of the WWE. Okay, last I knew he did. He might have sold it because in the past month they're talking about selling it to, I think, MMA or some like umbrella corporation. But in any case, the thing is Vince would take that $5 billion and move it over into Titan Securities. Man, did that push the stock up. The stock's now sits in between $16 and $21. Only 5 years later, 6 years later. Okay? Now, because Vince moved $5 billion into Titan Security and pushed it up, all the shareholders made money, right? Now, since Vince owns all $5 billion of the money that he put in there, right? So he has, as the main shareholder of Titan Security, he has the permission to do whatever he wants with that money. So he does what they just did with Budweiser, what they just did with Target, what they're going to do with Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and all these big corporations and put them out of business and blame it on you, the public. Vince gets put options on Titan Security, and then he takes out the $5 billion, driving the stock down and doubling his money. And he does it back on the WWE as well, because when he pulled out the $5 billion, that drove the stock down. Obviously, he must have put options on that end as well. This is how the game is played, folks. And here we are working for a lousy $15 to $20 an hour. And this guy's making, just imagine, $5 billion, making a bet in Las Vegas, putting $5 billion down and winning. How much what are you going to triple, quadruple your money? You can't even imagine it. You can't even imagine it, folks. Okay? And that's what's really going on with this Target, this, Dylan Mulvaney, Anheuser-Busch, whatever, okay, boycott and takedown. It's all planned, folks. It's all planned, just like Sean and the NYPD. Because the funny thing about that is that every police station already contains a Mossad agent in it. Okay, and they are slowly shifting everything to a Jewish mode. Okay, um, start looking at your police department names, and you'll see that English names are being phased out while Jewish names are being phased in. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong on this. Now, two more things that are coming up that I need to tell folks about is, first of all, the 4th of July this year. The 4th of July is a great day to attack America because nobody's expecting it. And the numbers for the 4th of July this year are July, which is the seventh month, for the fourth day, and 2023, 223 is 7. So there's going to be a 747 flying on the 4th of July, so to say. Well, 7, 4, and 7 is mirrored 11, or 1111. In numerology, folks, that's the reset number. That's something we might want to worry about. Okay, now, one day prior, or I'm sorry, another day before 4th of July, here in June, is the days that equal 667, which would be June 6th, June 15th, and June 24th. Okay, 667 is one above Satan in numerology, right? Because Satan's number is 666. So 667 would be one above Satan. And those might be days that we need to look out for, all right, which is the 6th, which is Tuesday, and then maybe the following Tuesdays. I'm not sure. In any case, another day that we need to look out for in July is July 7th, July 16th, and July 25th, because all three of those days total 777. And pull out your disc, and I know you're not over in England. Oh, sorry about that. The disc reference was something I was talking about earlier. Um, in any case, uh, if you recall, on July 7th of 2005, England had their 9/11, where the subways blew up and a couple buses blew up, and it was a big mess. Okay, and WWE pulled a stunt on that day as well, whereas three guys dressed as terrorists came into the ring and literally strangled Mark. Can't think Mark's last name, but the Undertaker pulled out a choke chain and literally choked him and hung him by the ring on the same day as that event. So people weren't already traumatized by what happened that day, and I believe that WWE was in England on that day as well, and that's what WWE treated them to. Um, but in any case, um, these days we need to look out for. Okay, the best way to subvert a country is to claim something is pseudoscience and crazy and absurd, like numerology, and then use it against them. Because anybody that tries to say, hey, this is what they're using, everybody will ridicule them and say, oh, yeah, right, yeah, it was just coincidence. Well, if you don't know, folks, conspiracy theorists got over 75 things correct in the past 3 years. And all you got to do is type in a search engine, conspiracy theorists proven correct. And you should come up with one that's 42, one that's 6, one that's 7, another one that's 18. where it tells you about Kennedy, about, it just came out last week or a couple weeks ago that all the hijackers supposedly of 9/11 were CIA agents. All right, no more secrets, folks. Everything's coming to the light. You just need to be aware of it. Now, folks, I rambled and I talked about the news, which is what I really didn't want to do. But there's just so much going on that we really need to pay attention. All right? Our country's been subverted. The flag is already raised. The police departments are already subverted. The military equipment is already placed in the positions that Israel wants them, in the police stations that they want. Another thing is, if you don't know, a TV show called Reno 911 about the police in Reno, Nevada, came out with a season that's short. It's like the episodes are only 20 minutes long, and there's only 6 of them. But, folks, the very first episode, an Israeli soldier comes in and puts our police to shame. And, like, they pull up in their, Reno pulls up in their police car, and then the IDF comes in with a huge Hummer and just runs right over like a like the Undertaker monster truck, just crushed the police car and rolled over and said, "Yeah, we're here." And meanwhile, our police are monitoring. Reno was monitoring a hostage situation with guns. The IDF just went in and shot everybody, and it's supposed to be funny. Okay, remember, they tell us what they're going to do before they do it. And if you don't know, Danny DeVito is Jewish. Okay, so you know he's in with the crowd. Hollywood is Jewish. You know how you always hear that Hollywood is Jewish controlled, and you have to go through Weinstein to get and look what monster Weinstein was. Before that, I'll tell you who else is in the list that isn't being mentioned, and that's Mike Meathead Reiner, Rob Reiner. Okay, he's now the controller of Hollywood. Okay, why? Because Carl Reiner was in charge of Hollywood with Weinstein, and Tarantino's in there. Okay, but now imagine Hollywood being controlled all over. As an example, in Chicago, we had Rahm Emanuel start off as a city councilman, and within a month, within a year or two, he became mayor of Chicago, and then he was a senator in Illinois for only one term. Actually, I think it was the other way around. He was in the rep, then he was a senator. He was a councilman in Chicago, then he was a senator for 1 year, just like Obama, one term, okay? And look, Obama became president, and Rahm became mayor of Chicago. If you look at the flag of Chicago, it has 2 blue lines and 4 stars. Israel flag has 2 blue lines and 1 star. Is that just a coincidence? I think not. Why? Because the 2 blue lines on the flag represent 2 rivers, and there are 2 rivers in both places. All right, there's the Des Plaines River and the Chicago River, and in Israel, I believe it's the Nile and can't think of the other one. Nile and can't think of the other river. In any case, I'm sitting here in frustration. I'm irked that that flag is flying. I'm even more irked that all the people that are lying to the public and deceiving the public and misrepresenting that flag. And it's only people like me that are putting this information out that are trying to get you people to wake up. And I'll just leave you with this. 9/11 was your wake-up call. You didn't wake up then. That was your first wake up call. The second one was COVID and the tyranny. If that didn't wake you up, I really don't think you're going to get a third chance, folks. So either you wake up now or you go down the hole. All right? I'm not worried about what's going to happen. What's going to happen to me is going to happen. I've done my work. I'm doing my work. I'm standing up. This is all I can do. And I'm doing it not out of any anti-Semitic. Anything and everything I just said about the Jewish people was clearly factual and not at all meant to be anti-Semitic. Because I need to clarify that there are two types of Jewish people. There are the regular Jewish people, which are, yes, God's chosen people, the ones that were in the Bible. But there's a class or a tribe called the Khazars, which are from Turkey. And they subverted Israel with the help of Rothschild in 1948, and they are known as the Zionist Jews. And if you talk to any regular Jewish people, you will find out that generally, on average, they're really pissed off at the Zionists posing as Israelites as well. All right? But no, everything I just said was factual and not meant in any way to have any hate or despise. And that goes for any gender, queer people. If you're straight, you're blue, you're green, you're from Mars. I go by the heart and mind, and I don't play division tags games. Protestant, Jewish, I don't care. I'm white, you're black, I don't care. We all have a heart. We all have a mind. We all have an electric field, and we all have choices. Are you making the right ones for you? That's the question. So this has been Freak Mushroom. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to visit my website or check out some of my music on Spotify under Beyond Level Motion. I'm working every day on new music. Hopefully I'll come out with an album this year. And in the meantime, all we can do is pray, hope, and stay positive. Because the one thing the government can't handle is peaceful, positive, happy, content people. And how do we achieve that? By dropping our tags and our divisions and our trivial fights and despites, and realize that we all have hearts and minds and that we all need love. God bless.